Welcome back to episode 3 of the podcast. It's been a minute since I've made a video or released any content. I'm sorry, I'll keep posting community tabs, but just been really busy trying to get back into the groove. Some exciting content coming soon, but let's talk about the Champions League. So recently we had the playoffs, I guess they're calling them, to get in to the next rounds of the Champions League. And I'm going to be honest, most of these games disappointed, but we're still going to talk about it. And so, yeah, first of all, I don't think there's anywhere else we can start besides Manchester City versus Real Madrid. So, first leg, it ends up being 3-2. That was honestly a really entertaining game because we have City scoring first with Erling Haaland in the 19th minute, and you're like, oh, okay, because I feel like Real Madrid looked a little bit better, but then, City scoring like, oh, our City back. But then just out of halftime, in the 60th minute, Mbappe scores, so it's like 1-1, it's close. And then stupid penalty they give away. 80th minute, Haaland scores a pen. So now it's 2-1. You're like, oh, that could have cost them the game, like Real Madrid. But then they sub on, I forget who else, but it was Brahim Diaz who scores in the 86th. And so then you're like, okay, like it's tie game, but like Real Madrid are pushing, and then ultimately Bellingham gets the winner with an Mbappe doing most of it, but Bellingham getting a little bit of a reward. So that was super entertaining and gave Real Madrid just a 1-goal advantage, and especially helping that. So going into this game, I was expecting a really close game. I thought City would have more fight, but ultimately I took Real Madrid. It's in the Bernabeu. But yeah, it wasn't even close. Man City 3-1. Could have been 5-0. Marmoush had a really good free kick in extra time that gave them their goal when Nico Gonzalez tapped it in. But ultimately, it was the Mbappe show. Mbappe had a hat trick. And yeah, his first goal, just a long ball, beautiful by Asensio, who, shout out to him. I've loved watching him. I know the Madridistas, they love him. Every time he makes a tackle play, they applaud him. He's just becoming a fan favorite, about to sign a new contract, but I really do like him as a center back, the type of center back he is. I think we're missing some players like that. And ultimately, I was worried about Real Madrid's defense, but I think he's helped cover that up. So I think him and Rudiger are kind of helping sort out some of their issues, although I still think Real Madrid's fullbacks will be a problem. But hey, shout out to my boy Valverde, such a versatile player, playing right back. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think I know he's not a right back, but watching him play right back, I'm like, this guy's probably the best right back in the world right now. I know there's Koundé, there's other ballers, but when I watch him play, I'm like, he's complete. He's got the pace, defending, tackling, but he can go forward, assists, shots, crosses. Like, I think he's helping solve the right back issue, although you definitely lose something in midfield, but I think it's worth the sacrifice for Real Madrid, especially in these big games. You guys can let me know below if you agree. But yeah, basically Mbappe hat trick. Really, really impressive from him. He's definitely catching his form. Man City looked poor. I felt like there was a lot of separation between their midfield, their attack. They definitely missed Haaland. I don't think Savinho or Marmoush got the ball as much as they did, against the likes of Newcastle, where they played good. And I think ultimately, Real Madrid just played it better. Man City had to start Kushanoff at right back. I don't think they had a fit right back, so that was an interesting choice by Pep, considering he's never played there. I actually don't think he did bad. Now, I'm not going to say he dropped a masterclass, but I think he was probably their best, or at least one of their best defenders. And he really helped, at times. But when you have Vinny, Mbappe, Bellingham, Rodrigo all running at you, which Real Madrid's game plan was really smart. They were just rotating. Honestly, I think it's probably one of their best games this season. Just the way they played and they rotated. You'd had Vinny running at him, but then he would shift in a little bit. Mbappe would take a turn. Rodrigo would come like halfway across the field, take it out. And so it was just so overwhelming. Manchester City just couldn't breathe. And I thought they just looked so deadly. So ultimately, in terms of entertainment, if you're Madridista or you're, just rooting for Real Madrid, it was a great game. Mbappe cooked. But from my perspective, I was wanting a close, like down to the wire game. Just didn't really get that, which is okay. But ultimately, that was the best game. And then an interesting one was Club Brugge versus Atalanta. So in the first leg, They actually beat Atalanta 2-1, which I'm not going to say I had them winning, but I rated this team and I told you guys, I was like, yeah, like don't sleep on them. Ultimately, I have Atalanta, but I think they're a very good team. And we saw in the second leg when it was 3-0 at halftime, just absolute, I want to say domination. Yeah, it was just so surprising. And then you see the stuff Gasperini saying in the press conferences about Lookman's penalty missed. It's just crazy. They're definitely falling apart a little bit as the season's going on. A crazy red card by the Atalanta man. I'm not sure what he was doing. It was quite funny. I'm sure you guys have seen stuff all over the internet. You know, he's slipping, trying to throw the ball. But yeah, I mean, I watched some of this game, and I just think Club Brugge play really good football, and they have some players that actually really like. Big shout out to Talibi, who's been balling out this tournament. Got himself a brace in this match, well deserved. I rate him as a player. I when I first saw him play, I was like, "Ooh, this guy's a baller. Like, where has he been?" And so yeah, I definitely rate him, and I think they could be one of those teams that maybe sneaks by. However, if you look at the thing, I think they get Lille or Aston Villa as the teams they're going to play, and I think they could beat one of them. Lille, they could definitely beat. Aston Villa on their day, I think they'd lose, but like they've been so inconsistent under Unai Emery this year. I think they could have a chance at sneaking through. And then after that, they would have to play like Liverpool or Barcelona, and I don't think they could beat a team like that personally. But they could definitely make a little bit of a run, which is impressive for a team like that. And then yeah, kind of moving on, Dortmund, Celtic 0-0, or not 0-0, excuse me, 0-0 in the second leg. But yeah, really, really boring game. Dortmund did their business in the first leg, winning 3-0. Second leg, nothing to watch here. I didn't even watch the game. I saw a little bit of it. I was like, this is not worth my time. Yeah, just super boring. Dortmund, honestly, I don't I don't know. I don't know how to feel about them. I think against any good team, they will get beat. They just don't inspire me. They're very, very boring, and not very boring because they do have some exciting players like Gittins, Adeyemi, Girassi, but ultimately, when push comes to shove, they will lose. And so another boring game, though. Well, not boring, but I expect more out of Bayern Munich. When I watch them under company, yes, they're 10 points up in the league, or 8 points, 10 points up in Bundesliga, but they're so uninspiring. When I watch them, I'm really like, I don't know, not really entertained at all. I don't know. They've been weird. If it isn't Harry Kane, I think Olise's been good. Musiala's been inconsistent though, and I don't know. So they beat Celtic, but ultimately really pretty boring, not very entertaining. And then PSV though, PSV Juventus was quite the game. So in the first leg, it was interesting because Juve won that 2-1. So you were like, okay, Juventus, like they haven't been great, but they'll hold on. But they go to Eindhoven where PSV play, and it all fell downhill. So first of all, Persic scores, Croatian baller. Um, Legends know him. He's a great player, but I mean he's obviously getting older. And I think this PSV team's good, but I think Juventus should have beat them. So they score, and then Tim Weah with an absolute screamer, my boy. Shout out to him. Equals it, and then they kind of score another goal. So now it's equal and aggregate. And then Ryan Flamingo in extra time scores a goal. And honestly, kudos to him. Yeah, he's been playing really good for them, and also his last name is Flamingo, so he deserves some praise. But yeah, basically PSV pretty surprisingly win, but yeah, I don't see them going any further than this, but great win. Then Benfica, Monaco, so that was a little bit interesting because Benfica were up 1-0 in the first leg, but then ultimately it was an entertaining 3-3 draw, which means Benfica goes through on aggregate. But yeah, it was an entertaining game. I didn't get to catch this game, but it seemed from the highlights and from what I read like an entertaining game, exciting. I don't really think either of these teams are going to go farther because Benfica will have to play either Liverpool or Barcelona. I don't see them beating them. Although, I mean, it's possible. We've seen it earlier with Benfica, but I don't know. I just don't think it could happen twice, personally. But yeah, that seemed like an exciting game. And then lastly, we have Milan. Whew, this had it all. So first leg they lose 1-0 to Feyenoord. But it's at Feyenoord, maybe one bad off game. Okay, regroup. They should be better for the next game. However, it ends up being 1-1, and Conceição, the coach of AC Milan, got this all wrong. So first of all, they score in the first minute. Santi Jimenez, I think it was like 40 seconds in, scores against his former club Feyenoord. Yeah, so they're up 1-0, so that means on aggregate, they're tied now. So they can go out and win this game. And so they didn't play great, which is on the team. They've been so weird and inconsistent. I think Leao, I don't really know what's happened with him. Teo, we'll talk about him in a second, has been inconsistent. And so yeah, so Teo ends up getting a yellow card for just dragging a guy's shirt, which I thought was so unnecessary. It wasn't like he was really doing much. Like, it was kind of a stupid yellow. Okay, he takes it. And then he gets a chance in the box, and he just, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was an outrageous and egregious call. But then when I looked again, I was like, yeah, good on the ref for calling that, because I mean, it is a dive. I think it's, at first I was like, oh, maybe a little harsh for a second yellow, but ultimately he can't really complain about the red card there. And I think that's what lost them the game, because Feyenoord weren't looking like scoring without a striker, really. Yeah, I mean, I think Teo single-handedly kind of sent Milan packing. And then the coach got it all wrong. I'm not sure why he took Santi Jimenez and Christian Pulisic. Those are two players that, for me, at least have to be playing, to the 80th, 85th minute, unless something's wrong, which there clearly wasn't, and they weren't very happy about being subbed off. But yeah, Carranza ends up scoring in the 73rd. And yeah, the rest is history. So they get sent home. Now Feyenoord, they will get eliminated. They'll play Inter Arsenal. They're not going to beat one of them. They'll get eliminated. But great for them for winning that game, especially after losing their striker. And yeah, ultimately that's just me yapping about the Champions League. But that's kind of what happened. A little recap, and then I believe Friday morning the draws will drop, and I'll release a video about my Champions League predictions. So thank you guys. Make sure to comment below, follow on Spotify, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, follow, like. Appreciate all the support. It means the world. Some great content coming soon. Stay tuned. Peace out, guys. Thanks. Bye.